There's no time for an intro. We have big news that I need to break down right now and here for you guys. Finally, after so much time, we have more info on what these visions and flashbacks Ichigo was seeing when he was taking on the power of the Soul King back in Core 2. So, first off, I hope y'all are having a wonderful day, or at the very least, a not so bad one. Everything said in this video is going to be sourced in the description for the community's disclosure, so I hope you all enjoy. Starting off, back in Core 2 of Thousand Year Blood War, we began getting post-credit scenes of Ichigo. Due to the battles taking place at the time and Ichigo's need for more strength, he remains at the Soul Palace training for about half of the core while Squad Zero puts him through the ringer. This is where some of the anime original content starts to come in. In episode 2, we see the first bit of Ichigo's training, and in this post-credit scene, he begins down this big path. For this part, I'm going to quote Ichibe's narration during this scene. It begins, but does not end. Names wither in the silence in an abyss of rolling clouds. Raindrops fill an empty vessel. Those who are unworthy to be a vessel succumb to its weight as it turns to stone. It breaks apart and turns to gravel. Pounding rain reduces it to dust. For such a vessel, there is no way out. But if one does not enter, there is no path. Those who are about to perish call it Irazu Sando. The Irazu Sando is a test to determine whether someone is worthy of becoming reio. Where the person being tested holds this wooden sword that gradually increases in weight. There are additional rules such as don't stray off the cobblestone path and don't lift your heels off the ground, and we can see this as he's walking. And the end of the path leads directly into Shinjamaru's palace. Now, for those who are unaware, Ichibe was considering Ichigo to replace the Soul King, and we see this within the novels. This is where the whole Ichibe is not a good guy theory begins, and it takes root. This training is to help him get stronger, but it's also a failsafe in case he doesn't become strong enough. Now, in episode 3, we see more of Ichigo's post-credit scene training. This time he's walking down the same path, but more is happening. He begins seeing these visions of the Soul King, and this is where things start to get kind of cryptic, maybe confusing, and really interesting. Even as someone who's read the manga and novels, not even I fully understood what was happening here. I don't think a lot of people did. Over the next couple of weeks, thousands of videos started dropping online theorizing exactly what was happening. I seen everything from it being Soul King to it being Tokinada, but at the time I believed it was reio, and he was creating the three worlds or splitting them into three. We see a humanoid figure standing in the center of what seems to be water, surrounded by these three whirlpools. He stands in the center, with the fourth one being in himself. The three on the outer, they all contain an arrow in the middle. The three whirlpools were being generated by the arrows, and when the figure drew his sword down into the center, these arrows seem to glimmer and glow. Directly after, we see his own dismemberment into him being sealed. Now, this is interesting because it seems to contradict what is stated by Ichibe in the novels. Now, before the release of the Thousand Year Blood War anime, everything we knew about the original sin was based upon what Ichibe and Tokinada told us. But we later came to find out that there were some falsehoods within their claims. Ichibe explained the Tsunashiro clan ancestor first trapped Reio in the crystal while he was being distracted by the Shiba clan ancestor, then removed his limbs afterwards because they were scared Reio didn't try to fight back. But we all know this is not the case. What actually happened is that Reio stabbed his sword into the ground and caused the three whirlpools to circulate around him. This also leads to his limbs being severed and the liquid solidifying, trapping Reio in the crystal. So because of what happened in the anime, it's a little bit unsure exactly the time frame in which this went down or how much time passed in between each scene. We don't know if directly as this happened, if he was crystallized or he got dismembered and then his body was picked up, then he was crystallized. It's not extremely clear. Ichibe then claims that Tsunashiro clan and others spent a great deal of time tearing away his right and left arms and carving out Reio's heart and legs, which is blatantly false. Ichibe also claimed that he did not view what had happened firsthand, but in the anime version, it was shown Ichibe retrieving Reio's corpse with a menacing glare following his dismemberment. Evidently, Ichibe's words should be met with extreme distrust. With regards to this, Narita wrote in the novel's postscript that this story was merely hearsay by Ichibe and Tokinada, and it was purposely left up to the reader's interpretation whether there was more to the story or not. When it comes to hearsay, I'm quoting this by the way, if when it comes to the hearsay, that I wrote from the perspective of Osho and Tokinata, you were able to spread the wings of your imagination and felt that there was possibly more to the story or possibly not. This statement personally fascinates me as a reader given what information we have now and what we've known about Ichibe this entire time. What we know about the Soul King from the novel seemed to be a complete lie from Ichibe, or at least a half-truth. We know a great amount, but we don't know exactly how Reio's sealing went down. We know the factors at play, Ichibe, the noble houses, the ancestor, and Reio himself, but we don't have exact confirmation as to how it went down. The way I see it, Reio was destroying the universes, so he had to be sealed. He was benevolent, people loved him, but he was destroying too many hollows and he was too strong, thus disrupting the balance of the worlds. Sealing was the only option. The noble houses knew that, and Ichibe knew that. Reio's body parts were already severed before he was solidified into the crystal, and it was not done by man, but by a series of events started by Reio himself. So this begs the question, what was Ichibe talking about? Did he simply lie to everyone? We assume for the longest time Reio knew this himself, thus allowing the sealing to take place. Given the power of the Almighty, we can say it was his decision. We knew he was betrayed and dismembered. But the story now, given what we know about the Bleach exposition from Japan and the anime original content, Reio seems to be alone. We didn't see anyone else there, only Ichibe, and that just makes the whole thing even more conspicuous. It's almost as if he's seen every future and decided what was needed to ensure the best future. He didn't fight back, he sealed himself. So the real question is, was it the ancestors that betrayed Reio, or was it Ichibe alone? We know they did this to ensure the best future, so Reio wouldn't and couldn't decide that one day he wanted out. They wanted him trapped, and Reio was most likely aware of this. Nobody wants to be the Soul King, but it's what has to be done. You want to be the Hokage. You want to be the Pirate King. You want to be the strongest in the world. Soul King is a whole nother thing. Again, since the anime original scene of the Three Worlds creation, we know Ichibe was either lying or telling a half-truth. I wonder what else he didn't tell about the story, as a part he's played in all of it. Him claiming he didn't see what happened is kind of suspicious for two reasons. He was the only one who seemed to be around when he picked up what we now know as Reio's mutilated body. Second, and the most important and more concrete, is Ichibe sees all. If we're taking the novel at face value with these words, when Osho stood next to Oetsu, he looked at the empty space. Okay, I'm quoting. When Osho stood next to Oetsu, he looked at the empty space that the man had been gazing into earlier in the same way and stroked his black beard as he said, so Ikomiki Dome is in the Kyogoku? You don't have to ask, do you? You are Osho, after all. You see everything in this world. You see, all see you again. Am I right? Osho says, I have no idea what you're saying, but it's exactly as you say. Now, it's just the way he talks. It's almost as if he's just always leaving something out or not telling the full story. When we can see this with a lot of the stuff that he said. Ichibe, now, in this novel, Ichibe was able to see events occurring in a totally different dimension, yet he didn't see what happened to Reio, even though he was literally present at the scene, and we see this in the anime scene. I think it's more than obvious Ichibe is withholding some kind of truth while lying. So, all in all, to recap, there are total discrepancies between what Ichibe and Tokinata said in the novel and what seems to be happening in the anime original content, plus what we've learned from the Bleach exhibition in Japan. The original sin is still somewhat of a mystery even now with everything we know. The content from the manga, anime, novels, and the exhibition is still not enough to give a full, clear picture as to what actually happened that day. One could only assume this is for a reason. This feels less like a retcon and more like Ichibe is hiding something. Knowing his true intentions for Ichigo, it wouldn't be too far off to assume he is not one of the good guys, but I'll leave this interpretation up to you. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. This is my first time writing a script for a video. I've been doing YouTube for about a year now, and I've never actually wrote a script. I usually just talk off the dome. So if you guys did enjoy, make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, share this if you want, and make sure you leave your comments down below about anything you think about this, any theories. I'm on Twitter right now, Reddit. I have these things open. I'm reading all these replies and I'm just filling my head with all this information and it still doesn't make sense. But there are a lot of good theories out here and I want to hear your alls. That's why I did this video. You have all this information for yourself. So if y'all did enjoy, make sure to rate, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.